video montage that they have at the beginning of the draft. So I'm going to take a quick commercial break because I need to watch this, and we will be right back in about a minute.
Kicking it. What are we kicking? A soccer ball. That's right, Infinity Sports Network now has its very own soccer show. Hosted by none other than Jake Leiker, Byron Tollefson, and Noah Taborda. We bring you all the latest news on and off the pitch in the soccer world, whether it be the international or club level. Like us on Facebook at Kicking It. And don't forget to tune in once a week on Spreaker.com/Infinity Sports Network. Listen to us there.
All right, and we're back after, for me, what was not an exciting, it just didn't get me hyped. I'm sorry. I've seen some pretty good hype videos over the years for the draft, and this one...
Yes, it's not a hype video because it's not a game.
They always have the hype. They always want to get you hyped. I mean, the song we played at the beginning, that was one of them.
I'm sorry if they're...
All right. They always try to hype you up. They always try to hype you up. They always try to hype you up. This one just wasn't as hype-filled. This is definitely trying to hype you up. The way the players are looking and all that kind of stuff, like the dramatic shots, that's intentionally trying to hype you. Where is Jameis on that shot? Is that Trump Towers?
Possible.
I think he's on... Yeah, that's Trump Towers. It looks like Trump Towers to me. Yeah, that is Trump Towers.
All right.
All right.
Probably do the show now.
Well, we're on the show right now, Carl.
Oh, that's nice. Yeah. Well, we should probably talk about the draft again instead of just the montage.
You know what? It's a long show. It's fun to talk about stuff. All right.
You're right. We actually do have enough time where we can go all Vince Scully and start talking about whatever we want.
We will have Roger Goodell on air for you. Basically, when he comes on, we will have the audio there, and we'll also have the first pick. After that, we'll be on and off in terms of when we actually have the picks, audio-wise, but...
You know what? One of my biggest issues with the draft in Chicago is they have the selection square where they have the teams. I don't like having the teams not in the building.
That's because the building isn't as big, unfortunately, as...
I know it's not as big. I just think it kind of takes away from some of it.
I would agree. The clock. They officially have the big clock up 1 minute and 20-some seconds before the draft commences. Are you excited, Carl?
It's 5:03, so, I mean, the NFL has continued to be a disappointment, being 4 minutes late on their draft clock.
I know, but are you excited, Carl? Are you excited? Are you ready?
Are you asking if I'm hyped?
I am asking if you're hyped.
I gotta say, I'm a little bit hyped. I mean, here's the deal with the Vikings. We've had some interesting draft strategies, and so while I may think exactly what we're doing, nobody knew we were taking Anthony Barr last year. So it's interesting to watch that, but I know a lot about this draft more than I have in previous years. I've got Marcus Mariota. I mean, he's my boy. He's an Oregon boy.
Arik Armstead, too. Arik Armstead, too.
Armstead and Jake Fisher could go late, so we could have 3 Oregonians.
All right, well...
3 Oregon players going. Also, 3 Oregon players, none of them who are actually from Oregon, which is kind of how it works.
With 30 seconds left, Carl, rattle it off. 15 seconds. What are you most looking forward to in this first round?
I think I'm most looking forward to how the trades go. I think that's always the most interesting part, is those are the things we just cannot predict before the draft, and we'll see how they go tonight. All
right, we will have Sam Marati joining us in just a minute. For me, you know what I'm looking forward to? Just a great draft. Give me some surprises. I know it'll blow up my mock, and, I'll be like, oh, that sucks, but I would always love to see a couple surprises. I'd love to see the Packers do well. I mean, we bagged Clinton Dix last year. I'm excited. I'm ready to go. I'm ready for a great draft. And with that, the clock has hit 0. Roger Goodell will be coming out in
just a moment.
Here he is, and we have the audio for you live.
Tonight, for the first time in 51 years, Chi-Town is Draft Town. Thank you, and welcome to the thousands of fans that are out here from Chicago. The millions of fans who are watching on the NFL Network and ESPN, and to all of our fans around the world a heartfelt thank you for making the NFL great. So you ready for the draft? Let's get started. All right, it's time to have some fun. The 2015 NFL Draft is officially open.
All righty, here we go.
The Tampa Bay Buccaneers are on the clock.
And with that, the NFL Draft is underway. The Buccaneers are on the clock, and Roger Goodell has been booed extensively. Carl.
Alright, so you gotta explain this to me. So there's the selection square, and then there's the hall where they're doing the... Can you explain to me exactly the logistics of this?
Yeah.
You are...
Yeah.
You are in Chicago.
I don't know. I feel like they tried to do something a bit different, maybe.
Are the fans in a different area than, like, is that... What are they looking... Are they just looking at, like, a big TV there? Like, what's the point of... Because, like, Goodell seemed to be in the selection square. So, I'm confused where are the players... Here's the real question. So the players are in the theater? I think but Goodell is... I don't even know. I'm lost. This entire stage, I think the NFL went a little too far. I mean, this screen is about to give me, I don't know, a seizure with all the lights that's coming off of it.
Really?
So I'm a little confused, I gotta say.
There aren't that many lights. I feel like New York has more
Radio
lights.
City. Let's be honest here.
I think New York has more lights than that.
Not on a stage like
I
that.
would say it does. I would say
the screen is weird.
I think one of the things they had...
See, those are different lights, though, Noah. Those are like the Radio City Music Hall, like iconic outside. Like, those are different. Like, the on-stage lights this year is, like, crazy.
I'm not necessarily a massive fan of how they did this, but I don't really mind it either. I also think it allows for more fans to be able to experience the draft and have a chance to...
I just need to bring up something that we can all appreciate. The last time the Buccaneers picked first overall, they picked Vinny Testaverde. So...
I know. They just showed that. And Bo Jackson, of course, too, but that didn't work out.
Yeah, well, Bo Jackson's a very different story. Alrighty, Noah, I mean, we're going into this draft. We've got the Bucs going. I mean, do you see a trade possible, or are you just thinking, no, Bucs are going to pick, they'll run the clock down and then they'll go?
Look, it's not out of the question to say they would trade it. I mean, look, it's the NFL draft. Things happen. But that being said, I would probably say that the chances of this happening are not high. I just don't think it's likely. I definitely would have to say that Winston seems like the way they've been leaning, and they're going to need a pretty decent amount. I think at the end of the day, they are going to take Jameis Winston.
I mean, it's what everybody's projecting. I mean, I've heard a couple of rumors the other way, but honestly, it's just hard to think that it's not going to be going that way.
All right, Carl.
Yeah.
Well, let's talk a little bit about the mock draft.
All right.
Just talk a little bit about your mock draft and how you foresee things going, just a tiny bit.
All right. I think, honestly, the first 5 or so picks determine a lot of how this draft goes. Specifically, I think one of the biggest determining factors is how Jacksonville picks, who gets the Tennessee pick, and how Oakland picks. Because I've seen Oakland defensive, I've seen Oakland with a receiver, and I think that determines a lot overall.
All right. For me, you know what? You're right. The Oakland pick, Oakland-Jacksonville, could be incredibly important. I mean, if you see a guy, let's say Leonard Williams go third, then you've got an extra outside linebacker. Whereas if you go second, you could see him going to Oakland, or they could go ahead and take Amari Cooper. I think those 2 picks, there are 3 players in the mix right now that could really change the complexion of this draft.
And I think that although there's that intrigue, I mean, if you remember last year, we had the draft, and then, after 31 picks, the Vikings swoop in, take Teddy Bridgewater. I mean, the last picks of the draft can really be crazy because there's just so many different players, and there's no real consensus over, who's the 31st best player in the draft class.
All right.
And with that, who is it? It is Jake Liker.
Well, we actually have an issue right now, which we're going to have to solve first. we're trying to get Sam Maradi on. So what we're going to do is we're going to exit the call real quick, call Sam, and then we will have both Jake and Carl back on in 1 second. In the meantime, enjoy the Kicking It commercial for the second time today. Woo!
Kicking it. What are we kicking? A soccer ball. That's right, Infinity Sports Network now has its very own soccer show. Hosted by none other than Jake Leiker, Byron Tolson, and Noah Taborda. We bring you all the latest news on and off the pitch in the soccer world, whether it be the international or club level. Like us on Facebook at Kicking It. And don't forget to tune in once a week on Spreaker.com/Infinity Sports Network. Listen to us there.
Alright, welcome back. We're gonna call Sam right now. And then we will have both Jake and Carl back on with us. So, very exciting times. Lots of broadcasters on. It'll be a cramped show, but we're going to have a lot to talk about. Just pulling up Sam. Of course, the Buccaneers, at the beginning, I think a lot of people didn't really know who necessarily was going to get drafted. But now, at this moment in time, it looks like a clear Jameis Winston. I know there are some people in the organization that aren't 100% sold on him, but it looks like he is the favorite nonetheless. If Mariota goes, I think that would probably be one of the biggest surprises of this draft and have a massive, massive impact. But we have seen stranger things happen. Still, technical difficulties. Oh, Lord. But we have seen stranger things happen. I think that they are the obvious selection is Jameis Winston. I'm sorry if I'm babbling at this point, Just trying to get everybody on, everybody ready. It's being quite uncooperative, to say the least. And we will have Carl and Jake on in 1 moment. Roger Goodell is out. The Buccaneers selection is in.
Jameis Winston.
There you go. You got the obvious pick. Jameis Winston has been selected, and I don't know. Is anybody surprised? Anybody? At all? It doesn't seem like anybody is or should be. This has been the obvious pick for quite some time, and for the first time in a long time, the first pick not there. Nonetheless, we are going to be back on with Carl and Jake in about half a second. They are back, and unfortunately, the technical attempts did not work. However, Jameis Winston selected. Okay, Carl, that's unnecessary. I told you I was leaving. I also messaged it in the chat. However, oh well. Jameis has been selected. Is anybody surprised?
Not really, no. This was what we were expecting.
Jake?
No, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers organization has been one to make rather controversial decisions at times. They've been riddled with some off-field issues. But I think that this is an organization that's used to it, and I'm not so sure how much they care.
All right, I'm just going to put a quick side note on the just for our listeners. Throughout the night, you're going to hear Jake make a lot of opinions.
Wait. Did Jake say this is a controversial decision?
Jake, no. I'm saying that Jake's going to have controversial opinions overall.
That is true.
Because, Jake, you're always going to be on the side of the... Okay, fine. Well, we're going to use this as an example. Jake, would you be in favor of not drafting Shane Ray because he's had marijuana violations? Marijuana possession misdemeanors?
That marijuana violation.
I'm just trying to figure out what the correct way is. He was charged for a misdemeanor for possessing marijuana. That works.
To not draft him, to not let him go pro because he smoked marijuana.
He's gonna go pro. That's not the question.
The allegations over what Jameis did are much more serious.
Exactly what you said. Their allegations.
His allegations aren't even.
Well, we agree that I don't know. I think the investigation was handled awfully by the police. There, I also think that you can't.
Well,
Look,
You can't. Are you not going to draft him?
No, listen. I think it's hilarious that we're talking about. I think it's hilarious that we're talking about Jameis Winston when his allegations aren't even the most serious probably in this, because I don't think